very least on the waiting screen. I hope you're effing happy. I forgot where I put this desert. Okay, I remember. I see where I put the desert. Okay, quote retweeting. I don't think you're supposed to call it tweeting anymore. I think the cops will be after you. It's reposting. Which is very confusing because retweeting something is very different than reposting something. But whatever. I don't care anymore. Because yeah, I know at least people on Japanese art Twitter were complaining about it because they're like, they replaced retweeting with the exact phrase for reposting that people put in their bio that says don't repost to other sites. It's like the exact same word. Like you had one job, one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard I try. Okay,
I've seen a lot of Japanese Twitter accounts get very mad at Elon Musk. Not happy with him.
Okay, we're not talking about Twitter. We're not talking about Twitter.
You're right, we're talking about X.
I'm not gonna start the stream with that attitude. By the way, this has been part of the... I've been... apparently, the microphone has not been muted for the last 2 minutes. Have you said anything in the last 2 minutes you don't want to be public?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh yeah, I did want to say that, puppies? Yeah, not that cute. I'm just saying. Don't tell anyone I told you this, though, okay? You gotta promise. He's not promising. Did you know Solaris doesn't like puppies? It's a little effed up. I'm just saying, I don't know if I can support him anymore. Let me just get some jellies. And then we can start. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
More ready. Good sunny day, everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood. Frick! I did it perfectly last time. Good sunny day. I don't have the right background either. This is not work. Hold on. Wait. Okay. Let's try that one more time. Let's try that one more time, okay? Pretend I wasn't here. Good sunny day, everyone. It's your friendly intergalactic sun prince of the sun, Enyo Solaris To Moshimasu. And with me, I have my good friend, Azerad. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Today, we are going to be talking about, first of all, Hisashi Buri, because it's been like, I think it was like July 22nd was the last discussion. We did the movie, but that wasn't really, part of anything at all. The movie was completely non-consequential. It was bad. It was a bad movie. Don't watch Diamond Dust Rebellion, whatever you do. But, right? You remember Diamond Dust Rebellion?
Honestly, barely.
Honestly, barely. I did go back and rewatch, that one part where Ichigo shot out a Getsuga Tensho like a gun. That was really exciting. I liked that part. He was literally like he wasn't swinging it. He like had his sword stuck in like a piece of ice, and he literally just grabbed onto it like really tight, and he screamed, "Getsuga Tensho!" And then it just exploded out of the top of the sword like a goddamn shotgun blast, and it was awesome. So, you know what? That is relevant because in this arc, Ichigo starts using Getsuga Tensho a lot, and it looks really cool every time. Hold on, like this one, you see this one on screen, where it looks like it's like a piece of cloth that's like wrapping around the sword. Like, that's so sick, right?
Yeah, I really like the effect.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, people complain that, like, oh yeah, when Ichigo gets Getsuga Tensho, it's just, he just shoots laser beams at everybody until they die. There's no more interesting sword fights. But that's just straight up not true. It's just 100%, like, that, it's like, there are a lot of sword fights, and B, when the few times he does use Getsuga Tensho, they look really sick. Gotta reset my webcam settings here for a second. I'm opening my eyes too far. But yeah, I don't know. They look really sick. Azerad's a little bit sleepy, so I think it's gonna be mostly me talking. Also, I forgot music. He's a little sleepy baby, aren't you, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little sleepy baby. Oh. Rack. Way too goddamn loud. Way too goddamn loud. Say something.
Hello?
Hello. Realize that my videos in general have been quieter compared to other videos, but that's not important right now. So yeah, it's been a while. We're talking about Bleach. There's a lot of it's a very interesting arc, because it's kind of interesting and boring at the same time, which makes it interesting. So as a quick recap, last time we talked about, we just mostly talked about Orihime and how they're gonna go to Wako Munda to save her, because Ichigo got his hollow powers, and then yeah, Ichigo got his like hollow mask powers, and then Orihime got like willingly kidnapped or something. Or, like, she got kidnapped, but she got coerced into it. It's all according to Aizen's Keikaku. Anyway, she's in Wako Mundo, and Soul Society doesn't want to help because they're like, oh, she went there by herself. So it's just the standard group, plus, which is Ichigo, Renji... Wait, no. Ichigo, Chad, Uryu, and then also, Renji and Ruki are there, too. They don't explain why Kisuke or Yoruichi didn't go, or Ichigo's dad, because we now know Ichigo's dad's like a captain level Soul Reaper. He's just he doesn't give a fudge.
It's not his business.
That's not his business. He's like, you go save your girlfriend yourself, Ichigo. That's not my business. That's none of my business. But yeah, I don't know. I guess they sort of explain it later, but it's just weird how the first time with the Soul Society arc, they specifically went out of their way to show that Urahara could not go into the Soul Society. And that's why he didn't help. And then Yoruichi did go with them. But this time, like, Yoruichi was just MIA, and Urahara's like, okay, have fun! So...
just do your thing.
Yo, do your... Good luck with all that. Sorry, I'm glad to hear about that, or sorry that happened. I didn't read. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so, and then yeah, Rukia and Renji showed up, but like none of the Soul Society is gonna show up because they're like, oh, Orihime is a traitor or whatever, so we're not gonna help, because we're a bunch of big babies. So we just basically gotta go do the Soul Society arc again. And that's, where we are in the current series. They also ran into a baby. They also found a small, sassy child and some other comic relief characters. I think last time we talked about how the comic relief characters aren't too bad. They got bad. They got kind of bad.
They get real bad. During a specific point, but we'll get to that later.
But yeah, but before we go on to we'll try to go in sequential order. But is there any other like general is there any general things you want to say about the arc before we get into it? Because I know you said you had some choice words. So how do you feel about this arc? Again, it's when they enter the main palace to the end of the Grimjow fight.
I think it's sad that there's a lot of fights in this early part, which usually for a shonen is kind of good news, and everyone kind of gets their own little fight, which is really cool. But there's a reason why none of these villains are like playable characters in like other games or like really memorable.
Dang,
like, none of these ones we fight early on are like memorable.
He pulled that they aren't playable in the fighting game card.
Therefore, they're not real characters.
Dude, that one captain from the filler arc, he's even a playable character and not any of these dumb characters. It's like the second, you know the second Wii fighting game that was Japanese only?
Versus Crusade, made by Treasure.
Yeah, it's like an arena fight or whatever. They have the captain from the next filler arc that we're not going to cover because it's kind of boring. I mean, it's not as bad as the Bount arc, but like it's not worth covering. But he is a playable character in that game, which is one of the few times that a non-canon character was in the games. I think Senna was in one of the PSP games. But other than that,
I feel like Senna's almost canon.
Senna, yeah. Senna is canon to our hearts. Senna! Anyway, how's it going? But yeah, I kind of... Going into this, I was feeling the same way, where I'm like, yeah, I remember this being like the last like low point in the series, and like after as soon as the Grimjow fight starts, like the rest of the series is perfect, except for the fillers, but we're not talking about all the bad fillers. But going into this, you know, not as bad as I thought. There were some cool fights. Like Ichigo's fight with the like dancer guy was pretty good. We also had like a lot of episodes dedicated to Rukia and fighting Aranetto. And then yeah, the Grimjow fight. Okay, and then there's also an Ukiora fight. So like, but you know, so it was mostly good. It was just, you know, any fight involving it was mostly Renji and Uryu that had really boring fights.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't go on for that long, but they were like really bad. We'll get more into it later, but like, you know, that was only like, you know, this whole section covers 18 episodes, I think. 150 to 167. Let me double check that. 18 episodes, and like maybe like 5 to 6 of them were really boring, but like the rest of them were pretty good. So
I'll say it doesn't drag. The arc doesn't drag, which is a good thing. Yeah,
they're just a lot of like annoying episodes that are just like, okay, cool, we're doing this. Like the series is usually at like a 9 or an 8, but there's sometimes where the series is like a 6. It's like not awful, but like, you know, it wasn't like, it's not like horrible. Or it's not great, but it's not like awful, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I tried to take more screenshots and I failed miserably. I'm sorry. But yeah, just going in sequential order. The first thing they do when they enter Las Noches, which is like basically the Arrancar version of the Soul Society. Again, I do think this arc diverts is not that similar to the Soul Society arc as we talked about a little last episode, but like, especially these batch of like 18 episodes, these are just really just like the Soul Society, but worse. Because the first thing they do is when they enter Las Noches is they make the stupidest decision they make in the entire series. They go to an intersection with like 5 branching pathways, and they're like, let's split up. And Ichigo's like, that's a really effing stupid idea. Let's do it.
Yeah, they actually do talk about how it's not an ideal idea. Ichigo points out, but then they just They just do it.
I mean, it's something that just has to happen, because, like, you can't have, like, it's Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, Rukia, Renji, like, 5 really, like, strong characters. You can't, like, if they all teamed up and things would get very, like, hectic, or the plot wouldn't happen. They needed to split up for the plot to happen. I understand that, okay? There have been shonen in the past that have made this work better, where they're like, they travel in a group, but like when they find a bad guy, like one character's like, leave this one to me and you go on ahead. Like, they could have done that. Zatch Bell did that. Zatch Bell did that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just remembering, Zatch Bell did indeed do that. But like, yeah, and then the Soul Society, they got separated, but like there was a somewhat of a good reason for that, is they didn't really plan to get separated, that something went wrong while they were blasting through the barrier, and then they got separated like that. So like, that I can kind of understand, and they did meet up, like they did sort of like meet up a little bit. Like, Ichigo and what's-his-face met up, and then Uryu and Orihime also met up. But like this one, they just split up and they just do like one-on-one fights for like basically this entire arc, to mixed reception. And by mixed reception, yeah, no, basically everyone agrees that this is the worst decision they made, and I'm like, yeah, no, I agree. Even though I've been a Bleach defender, I'm willing to see this series has flaws, and them splitting up for no good reason, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's also... Yeah. Yo, go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think it's not, like, the worst thing that happens in the arc, but it's more that I feel it has, like, a long-term effect on the latter half of the arc that I don't like, because I like pretty much everything that comes afterwards. But I feel like right after the Soul Society, where everyone already spent all their time split up anyways, this is kind of, like, a bad idea to have them split up again, and for like a superficial reason. Then you give them like kind of forgettable villains. It's like, it's kind of a dropped ball for this little portion.
Yeah, I mean, again, it kind of has to they have to have a reason for them to not just team up against everyone they fight up, so any fight can have weight. But like, yeah, I don't know, it's not done very eloquently. And no, then never mind. They do later in, not to give too many details, but later in the series, they do have just a large group of characters fight another large group of characters, and it works out fine. And that's like one of the best parts of the series. So like, I don't know. And yeah, it all happened. Really, the main reason I don't like it is that it just happened way too fast. Like, Rukia's like, we should split up, and Ichigo says no, and Rukia's like, oh, but our pride as a Shinigami, you know, you have to have faith in your companions, and Ichigo's like, fine, whatever. But yeah, and also because of that, it's another part of the series where it like switches between characters a lot, where like we get like 5 minutes of this fight and 5 minutes of the other fight. It's not too bad. They are usually good about grouping important fights together, other than they split up Rukia's fight by like 10 episodes. Because yeah, Rukia's fight in this arc is really great. We'll talk about it more later, but like we have like 3 episodes with that fight, and then like right before the climax there's like 10 episodes of like just random nonsense, and then we go back for like one more episode to see the conclusion. I'm like, that's dumb. But yeah, it's not that bad. There's some good fights. Like the very first fight is there anything you want to say about them splitting up?
No, that was my whole thoughts.
Okay. But yeah, there are some good fights in it. Like Ichigo's first fight with the dancer Arankar, which is gonna have a relevant picture here. Oh my gosh, why is it so big? That's a good face Nell has. Did not notice that. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's fixed. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so Ichigo runs into somebody and he's like, hi, I'm a Sparta number 3,561. And Ichigo's like, okay, so you're one of the lower ranks, so I can fight you with just using my Shikai. And that's kind of, again, that's kind of runs into the themes that we were talking about Ichigo, you know, learning to use his powers and understanding his powers and, like, learning how to, like, deal with these powers. Like, he just got, like, a super power-up. He got the Arrancar mask and Bankai, you know. He's ready to go on, but he doesn't want to, he wants to prove that he's strong, and he doesn't need to use his Bankai for, like, minor characters. And it's kind of... Ichigo kind of has a little mini arc of him, like, having, too much pride in this arc about, not wanting to use his full powers, which basically just ends with this. It's basically just this one little mini arc. Because, before then, Ichigo was just using his full power. Like, he had his Shikai, and then as soon as he got his Bankai, he used his Bankai. And then he was relatively quick about using his Hollow Mask, but when he got here, he's like, I know I'm gonna have to fight, like, super strong Arrancar, so let me pace myself. Not a bad idea in theory, but this guy beats the hell out of Ichigo. Yeah, and then, but even when Ichigo is getting his crap beaten with using his Shikai, and the guy goes, like, he unleashes his Resurrection, which is fun to say. Can you roll your R's? I think you're supposed to roll your R's when you say Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Resurrection. I can't.
I said it more in a French way, but
I can't believe. Is this the plot twist? Is that here I secretly French? I love that little. Anyway, but yeah, the guy goes, like, his full power and he backs Ichigo into a corner, but Ichigo really does not want to. But it's when, going back to Ichigo's character arc from, like, season 1 about him wanting to be, like, a protector, the dancer guy, starts to hurt Nell, and then Ichigo's like, oh yeah, you know, if I want to, then he realizes that he's being stubborn, and that he's like, okay, fine, I'll just go Bankai and Mask, and then, protect everybody. Yeah, also ties into Ichigo's pride arc of not wanting to use his full powers in this arc in general, which I thought was more of an arc, but, like, it basically ends with that, because his very next fight, he doesn't hesitate to use his, Mask and Bankai. But yeah, it's a good example of, like, you know, it's not necessarily just a power of skill, because, like, yeah, Ichigo with the Bankai and the Mask was able to one-shot this dude. But that fight still lasted for, like, 2 episodes, just because, you know, he was very stubborn and there was a lot of back and forth about him using his powers or not. But, you know, I think it was cool, you know, like, he taught him a valuable life lesson that he's gonna need to remember for the rest of the series, you know? He learned some experience.
Yeah.
And, that Arrancar also, had a reason to do that. He wasn't just trying to teach the main character a lesson. Because, he had his own, like, hang-ups about how he was, like, actually like, an ex-Espada, and he wanted to go back into the ranks of the Espada, so he's like, I want to prove myself by beating this stupid orange-haired kid at full power. And then that didn't work. So, you know what? I think it works really well. I also like how, listen, Azerad, I know you're not a big fan of Ichigo's Bankai form, but I really love how they animate, like, the cape in this arc. There's like a couple shots that I really like. You see, like, in this shot here,
yeah,
how it's
like swirling around now.
Yeah, and then a few moments later, he has, like, the cape, like, flying out like that. I don't know what to call it. It's not really a cape. It's more like part of his, like, Shihakusho. It's part of his Bankai, okay? It's his Bankai outfit.
I don't hate the design. I think it's starting at this point where I feel like I see it a bit too much, because it's all we kind of see for, like, the next 100 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit rough. But besides that,
it looks cool.
You know.
There's also this shot. This is, like, a little out of order, but there's this shot where it's just, like, really super long, and it's used while he's falling. It makes a really cool impact. It's like, ah, it's good. It's good. I like it. It's like 3 times the size of him. It's like 3 times as usual. I love exaggeration in animation when used right, and it was so good. That was like, I saw that shot and I'm like, ooh! Now we getting some real shit in here. You see the shot that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he lands onto the ground and like it's cool. But yeah, I do agree that it's used a lot. But the mask does make it better. I would say that the mask kind of elevates it to being really good. Do I not have I have a screenshot of the mask. Yeah, because the issue about the Bankai is that it's a little like plain compared to a Shikai, but like I think the Bankai or like the hollow mask, like it just, listen, I don't want to use like cheating words, but I will say it is iconic.
I think it brings it together.
Yeah, it brings it together. It's a good contrast. You'll see Bleach, you'll notice this especially if you read the manga, but Bleach focuses a lot on black and white contrasts. So like all of the Shinigamis have a mainly black outfits, and the hollows are mainly white. Like, yeah, here is Grimmjow, and his outfit is like all white, so yeah, it's good contrast. He has a black outfit with a white mask. It's really cool. I like it a lot. And there's also some scenes where he takes it off. And he has to be really fancy about it. It looks cool. Listen, I'm 12 and this looks cool as hell. I'm sorry to tell you. I like how it comes off on and off in like a black like whoosh. It's really sick.
I like the kind of hand gestures he uses to bring it on and take it off. Very fancy.
The mask, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I like that. I like that fight. It was a short fight, but it really like emphasized like, hey Ichigo, you're in deep shit. You gotta not hold back or you will die. So again, the guy is not memorable because I don't even remember his name, but the arc that happened with Ichigo was cool.
Yeah. I think personally I'm not too big of a fan of the fight. I don't hate it. I think there's way worse in this arc. But I like Ichigo's like little mini arc, like you said. I wish the villain was a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Just because,
I mean,
yeah,
he has that one thing where he's like, I want to prove that I'm an Espada again, but like that's basically all he has.
Mm-hmm. And I think it doesn't help that none of the Espada even really mention him. They don't really like do any like that plot thread of him being an Espada before never really gets brought up.
Yeah, that is something that is kind of like similar throughout the series, or like similar about all the Arrancar, because like the cool thing about the Soul Society arc is that all the captains had like relationships with each other. Like some hated each other, some liked each other, some were cool, like some had different reputations. That doesn't really happen with the Arrancar. Like the Arrancar all kind of exist when yeah, that happens this arc. When Adeniro dies, like the other Arrancar like mention it, but nobody seems to give a frick. Like, I know they're supposed to be the bad guys, but like they really have like an absolutely zero relationship to each other. Other than Grimmjow and Ukiura. Grimmjow and Ukiura got some beef with each other. They do have like a full-on fight in this arc. But like
even Yami a little bit with Ukiura. Yami and Ukiura kind of like buddies.
I'm not gonna lie, I 100% forgot that Yami was a character.
Oh jeez.
You said Yami and it took me like a second to figure out, wait, who? But you know, you're right. Yami went with Ukiura to the world of living the first time. But yeah. So there's a couple of them, and they imply that they have like Ukiura is like brutal or has a signature move or whatever, and there's some interaction. And they also imply that like each Espada has like a different job. Like Adeniro has like was the job of like being like the overseer or like the their surveillance camera or whatever. But like, yeah, there's not really any connection between them. They just kind of exist in their own separate plane. Which, yeah, it's like, that's another thing about this arc, is that each fight could take place at like, all these fights timeline wise, or could be completely interchangeable. There's nothing really that needs the fight to happen. The only time they really reference that is when Ichigo runs into Ukiura. Like, by that point all of his friends are like dead. So that's kind of where that, but other than that, you can kind of like mix up these fights a lot and it doesn't really matter, which is okay, I guess. Anyway,
yeah.
But hey, you know what is a really cool part of this arc is Rukia's fight with Aranyeto. I do actually remember him because he's the guy who has like a fancy like bubble skull mask thing. Did I not get a picture of him? That's crazy. But yeah, he's like a jar. He's like a jar. He's like two skulls in a jar.
He's got the coolest design out of all of these Arankars we see this arc.
Yeah, and okay. So Aranyeto is one of my favorite spotter. He has a cool fight. I love his. He has a cool design. I like the fight. It's like one of the. I would say it's the best fight in the arc, but also the Grimjaw fight also exists. But it's a cool second best fight in this arc. And it's competing with one of the best fights in the series. And it also gives more character development to Rukia, because Aranyeto disguises himself as Kaien Shiba. Like, he's wearing like the whole Arankar outfit. By the way, in this screenshot, Kaien totally looks like Ichigo. I know that's supposed to be like a thing that people say like in universe. But like they do really animate him like the similar way that is 100% a face that Ichigo would make. Which sort of makes sense considering later developments, but anyway, for the moment, yeah, I think this is really cool because like in the Soul Society arc, like Rukia mentioned that she had a lot of guilt about having to kill Kaien because he was possessed by a hollow, and she's like, oh, it's fine if I get executed because I shouldn't anyway. But like they never really like resolved that arc. But like, yeah, here they do actually like they finish that character arc, you know, they tie this back into her like whole big character arc, and I'm like, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, I like how they handle, even though I still don't really like this arc that much, I do like how Rukia has a role in it. That's probably the biggest difference between these fights and like the Soul Society fights, is that Rukia is actually a part of it this time.
Yeah, Rukia and Renji. Well, Renji was kind of part of it. He was like an antagonist and then he turned into a hero. He was Knuckles. He was Knuckles. He has red hair. He's actually no, I think between Renji and Uryu, they are both Knuckles. Which is, you know, not a coincidence that they have a fight together in this arc. Because they're both Knuckles. Renji has red hair and was a bad guy but turned good guy, and Uryu is the last of his kind. Think about it, Azerad. Think about it.
Maybe you got a point here.
Anyway, so Kaien, Aranyeto, disguised as Kaien, is like, hey, I'll forgive you for killing me if you go murder your friends. And first of all, excuse me? So, what is Aranyeto's plan? I mean, okay, listen. Decent plan. Disguise yourself as Kaien. She has a lot of guilt. She'll do anything to undo her guilt as Kaien, so let's, you know, kill 5 birds with one stone by making the friends kill each other. Sure, why not? But, like, what is the logic there? Because, like, if Rukia feels bad about killing Kaien, how is killing 3 or 5 other people gonna help?
Yeah, I don't think he would have won her over with that.
Like, it's Listen, I like that there's like a strategy, that this is more like a battle of like wits and like character development, again even more so than a lot of the other fights than otherwise. But yeah, I don't know, it's just a bit weird. But Rukia's not fallen for that. She's like, hey, I know Kyan would never say that. You're not Kyan. I don't believe in you. I'm gonna kill you. And then you know what they do is the coolest thing ever. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure I recall.
They show off Kyan Shikai!
Oh, yeah.
That is like the coolest thing ever. Like the thing is that Anieto isn't a Spada, and he's like special, and he has the ability to eat like hollows and gain their abilities and memories. And the hollow that ate Kyan, Anieto ate him, so now he has all of Kyan's like memories and abilities. And then he pulled out his Shikai! Isn't that sick as hell? Like, we never saw what we heard the name of it. Kyan tried to release it, but like it didn't work because the hollow like broke it. But like here we actually get to see it, and it's like a cool ass water trident. And it's like sick as hell, dude.
It is really cool. I forgot that we even see a Shikai here in this fight.
Yeah, it's like, that's so sick to like show off like basically a dead character Shikai outside of a flashback or anything. Because it's like, it's just, he has his Shikai, he stole Kyan's memories, face, and Shikai, and it's really sick. We actually get to see what his Shikai does. He twirls it around and creates big giant water waves. And like, we get to see like an actual fight between like, functionally two like Soul Reapers. We get to see a fight, and that's like sick as hell. And I think that's like the best example of like, okay, one of the best examples of like Shikai reveal still being cool even after Bankai exists, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Because like you think like, oh, Bankai's the new thing, we don't care about Shikai anymore, but like Shikai can still be kind of hype though, because Bleach isn't just about power levels. There's a lot of like, go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, I agree. There's even sometimes even a bit further after this where there are Shikais where I'm like, oh yeah, finally we get to see it.
But yeah, it's sick. Because like, with this Shikai in particular, like it's part of like Rukia's arc, and like Anieto trying to like deceive Rukia and be like, I'm the real Kyan Shiba. Would a fake be able to use his Zanpakuto toe perfectly? And like while fighting him, Rukia's like, oh, I remember training with Kyan and he did the same things. And it's so goddamn sick. And yeah, it's she still can't like fight at full power until like she pulls like a big thing and like blasts away the wall and like melts his disguise. And then she's like, hey, I knew it, you're not Kyan. So like this whole time up until this point, like Rukia was still like under, like, she knew that it wasn't Kyan, but she's still like, I feel like it's Kyan though. It might be Kyan. I think that might be Kyan, guys. I don't know, guys. It's really sick. I like it a lot. It's also cool because this again continues this Rukia's arc about feeling guilt about Kyan, because like, you know, Rukia can now have like, she basically has to kill Kyan twice, but now she gets, it starts as like a horror nightmare scenario, which is really cool for like a bad guy to do. When ever a bad guy can elicit nightmares within one of the protagonists, then you know you got a good villain. But also, like, Rukia also kind of has a chance for closure, because, you know, she gets to do it right this time. She gets to realize that, hey, she didn't kill Kyan the first time, or this time, she was saving Kyan. You know what I mean, dog?
Yeah, it's a really nice thing. It's a nice character moment for Rukia. It's honestly, it was a huge twist for me back when I was like first watching, because I totally had no idea. And it's not really like a major point that people will like talk about. So
yeah, it is like,
I like it.
It is a very slept on moment of the series. That's why I think that's why I always like really liked Anieto, and by extension like this Kyan arc, because like when people talk about this arc, they mostly are like, oh yeah, it's really bad except for the Grimjow fight, but like this fight is really good. It's really good. They also explain some more backstory, because they have of course we have a big flashback where we learn more about Kyan, and I do like that. And Kyan tells Rukia, he's like, this is the most important thing I'm going to tell you. He says, if you trust your heart in your friends, then it will continue to live on inside them. Which kind of explains, I think we'll get to this a little bit more later, but it kind of more explains like Bleach's philosophy on death, which is like, you know, if you have your friends and you power of friendship and whatnot, then, you know, even if you go away, then your memory will live on inside them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a serious, cool topic. But it also explains during the Soul Society arc, when this a flashback initially happened, when Rukia stabbed Kyan through the chest and killed him when he was possessed by a hollow. Kyan said, thank you, now I can leave my heart here. And now we finally understand what he means by that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that?
That was a really nice follow-up.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you know, now I can... now that I'm dying by a friend's side, I can leave my heart with them or whatever. And then Rukia has resolve hacks and murders Ananyeto. Right, like, because Rukia, like, at that point was like, Ananyeto, like, did his actual sword release, which looks like a giant octopus monster. Which is, I think, one of the most underutilized, like, Arankar forms, because it does nothing. It just looks really sick.
Yeah.
Because
it's not like a function or anything, it's just a big old monster.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's like, oh, these are the combination of all the hollows that I've consumed, and I've killed about 60,000 hollows, so you're fighting an army of 60,000 hollows, and I'm like, okay, cool. What? It's just a big, creepy tentacle monster. But because Rukia finally realized what Kyan meant by leaving his heart and why he thanked her when she killed him, then that kind of gives her the resolve to push forward and kick his effing ass.
Yeah.
Because she understood this, and she won because she finally, like, came to terms with Kyan's death. And, like, she had character development, she came to terms with something that was ailing her, and that gave her the power of friendship power to just one-shot him. Could you remember that scene? I don't think I have a screenshot of it, but it's basically like Rukia was like dead and her sword was cut in half, and she was like impaled with this trident, and then she kind of like put the sword up to his, like the broken sword up to his face, and then she did a power which reformed the sword, splitting his head in half. It was kind of sick. Listen, it's kind of sick that she effing cut his skull in half. Like, she killed that dude. Like,
jeez.
There was no, like, there were a lot of parts where they like, leave the opponent alive. Like, Ichigo left the, like, dancer guy alive and, like, all the other things, but Rukia just, like, no, I'm gonna straight up slice this dude's skull in half. Which is cool, but, like, power-wise, it's 100% BS. Because there's no way that Rukia's wimpy-ass Shikai is equivalent power level to a billion hollows.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, it's not all about power levels in this series, it's about resolve, and Rukia got over the thing that was ailing her for most of her life, so yeah, I would say that, yeah, she got some good resolution. So the power of...
Yeah, I think really good. And she got the, like, beat up on a Arankar too.
Yeah, she beat an Arankar. There's not a lot of characters that can say they did that. I mean, I know he was, like, the second weakest Arankar. He was number 9, which they go in, like, power of, like, 1 to 10. But, like, so he was one of the weakest, but he was still an Arankar, you know? So, yeah. It was a really good fight. The only thing that, I don't like about it is that they interrupted it halfway through with a dumb Uryu fight.
The pacing in this arc is what kills a lot of things.
I mean, outside of that
For me.
moment, outside of cutting out the interrupting the Aranyeto fight, they don't really do that a whole lot.
I'm trying to remember. So it's been a while. I haven't watched these episodes since.
I mean, I agree
I'm
with you,
trying
but
to remember
like,
how the Chad fight goes.
but like, yeah,
Chad,
they never, and it like, okay, there was a lot of bad pacing because there was a lot of like characters just kind of not doing anything while other characters have fights, but like, this is the only part in the arc where they straight up like interrupt a fight for 5 episodes to do something completely unrelated.
Mm.
So, yeah, and they just do it with a Uryu fight, and like, there's a comic relief guy, and they do the same joke for 5 minutes. It's a really bad fight. It's like against a like girl around car, and I don't even remember her name.
Yes.
I don't remember. I literally just watched it. I don't remember anything about it because like nothing happened in that gosh dang. Oh, I do have the moment where Rukia sliced his face in half. But anyway, yeah, it's a really boring fight, and it's like cut up a lot with the comic relief character helping, and like it's bad. It was like, but it was only like 2 episodes, so like
It didn't drag. Yeah.
while it was airing, it was really bad. But now we can just watch marathon it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. One more thing I'll say about the Aranyeto fight before we move on. Unless you have anything, do you have anything to say about the Aranyeto fight?
Not too much. I really like that Rukia gets like a chance to shine here. I
Yeah.
still feel like it's not like as no strings attached as what happens later on in the series, but it's like pretty nice after a whole arc of her being the damsel in distress.
Yeah, it's very satisfying because Rukia...
And the Grimjow thing, which I think was unnecessary.
What do you mean by the Grimjow thing?
Well, how when her Shikai got revealed, she gets beat up by Grimjow.
Oh yeah, she beats a nobody and then she gets impaled by Grimjow.
I think they could have just had Grimjow beat up Ichigo. I think I said that piece before. I feel Rukia got jobbed really hard. So it's nice she did something good in this arc.
Yeah, because this is like her first like real like significant thing that she did in the entire series, basically. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
fight wise,
This is her first real fight.
Yeah, her first real fight, and it's really good because it resolves a lot of her previous character arc, and it's against like an actual like numbered Arrancar. So like the Arrancar numbering is very nice because you can feel like we're making real progress. You know, because the goal is to kill all 10 of them, right? So when an Arrancar like goes down, we know like, okay, one of 10, we are 10% way towards our goal. It's a good feeling of progress, which is something that the side fights did not have because they had like really arbitrary numbers and it was really unclear of how many there were. There were only like 3, I think. The one that Ichigo fought, the girl that Uryu fought, and the guy that Chad fought. But like, we don't know how many there are. There could be 50 of them. So like, during those fights, there's no real like sense of progress. Because you could just think like, oh, there could just be 100 of these fights. But like, you know, like, okay, this is one of the 10 Espada, not the Arrancar, the Espada. There's only 10 Espada, so you know, like, this is the one. You know, like, you know you're making real progress. And that's a difficult thing in storytelling. As a hack writer myself, having a sense of progress in your story is something that's very difficult. And I think the numbered espadas, you have to give credit where credit is due. Numbered espadas, very good for having good, like, tangible progress toward a goal. But you also see the opposite problem where there is no tangible progress with the fake Espada. Because, like, we don't know how many there are. If they said that there's 3 of them, then okay, that could be cool. There's 3 of them. We know that all 3 of them die. But, like, I don't know. They never really made that clear. No more fake Espada show up later. But, like, there could be more. We don't know as a viewer at this point in time.
Well, we also know that Espadas can kind of leave the rank and some can replace them and all these other things. So
yeah, I don't
there's
know.
so many ways to go about it.
So yeah, anything outside of the 10 currently numbered Espada, like anything outside of that is really difficult to like make the viewer care about unless it's a really interesting fight, which they do later. Anyway, and one last thing I was gonna say that's not even about the fight, it's about the color of Arieno's. I can't effing pronounce anything. I can't even spell it. I'm looking up the Japanese pronunciation. You can't stop me. Aronido. Arurueri? I have no idea, dude. Arunido. Arunido? Let's say Arunido. You're not gonna help me? You just...
I wouldn't know. I don't speak Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish, dude. What do you want me to say, man? Speaking of which, what is his name? I don't know. Wiki does not say, allegedly. Anyway, his sword release in the anime, it's purple, but, in a later episode, like a flashback episode, it's yellow, and I think in one of the video games, it's also yellow, but then in the Bleach colored manga and in the newest, like, gacha game, Brave Souls, it's back to purple, so, like, what the fudge? Why did it change from purple to yellow to purple?
Huh.
I don't think you'll have the... I just thought, like, oh, his color was supposed to be yellow, but then... Because, like, back in the day, like, okay, it came out and it was purple, and we're like, okay, I guess his color is purple. And then, like, in a later episode, during a flashback, it was, like, might have been a filler episode, I don't remember. But in a non-canon appearance, because he died, so he's not coming back. But in a non-timeline canon appearance, it was yellow. And then also in one of the video games, it was yellow. I think it was the Wii game, maybe? No, the Wii game might have been purple. I don't know. But it was yellow. It was changed to yellow. And then we're like, oh, I guess that's the color it was supposed to be. But then they changed it back to purple, and I don't understand. I know nobody cares, but I care.
I'll pretend to care.
I'll pretend to care. Anyway, purple's a cooler color. Fight me. Here, I'm not gonna link it. I'm not gonna show it on stream, but I'll send it to you, just so you can see how dumb it is. Hold on, here it is. Here's the later episode in which it is yellow. It looks dumb. It's like pea yellow. I hate it.
Oh, ew.
Ew, yeah, right? Ew. Ew. So maybe...
I definitely think the purple not only just fits the idea of like this, to me kind of looks like an octopus, even though it's way more than 8.
Yeah, it's like the little tentacle monster.
But not only does it fit that, just in general, it also fits the room and the kind of vibe of the fight in general. I thought like the color coordination, the composition, if you will, for the fight was really well done.
Yeah.
That's something nice I'll say about the arc in general. I think the colors of the inner Hueco Mundo headquarters look nice.
That is something that the later anime has issues with, but not this one. Because, like, yeah, one of the big fights in this series take place during, like, the blue of day, but, like, there's still, like, lighting gimmicks that happen throughout it that make it more interesting. So, whatever. Anyway. So that's the Oninieto fight. And yeah, I also like speaking of the colors, I could just sit here and talk about the Oninieto fight for the next 5 hours, sorry. It's one of my favorite fights of the series. And there's also, other than the Grimmjow fight, it's the only thing I have to say about this arc. But like, yeah, I like how Onieto's powers are like, only work in the dark. So like, it only works like, that's like when Rukia broke the wall and like exposed the sun, that's how like the Cayenne disguise like evaporated. So like they kind of do play with that, where like it's really dark and menacing and scary and really cool. And I like it. It's cool. It's good lighting. I like it a lot. Basically what you said is that the vibe of the room is nice. The room this fight passes the vibe check.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can't really point at one thing or another of why something is cool, and I can try, but you know what? I'm just gonna say this fight passes the vibe check. Okay. So yeah, then in between this fight, the random Uryu fight happens. Does not matter. Uryu just basically wins for free. Like it's not even like the only really issue that he has trouble with is that the comic relief character keeps interrupting him. Bad fight. I will not defend that. It is really bad. I think we've said pretty much everything we can think of to say about that.
I hate the fight. I really genuinely hate it. And I do want to say one small thing. They introduced, I think, 1 or 2 new like Quincy concepts in that Uryu fight.
And
like
it's
that little
still
thing he
boring.
rides. Well, it's such a horrible way to make the Quincy's interesting because right now in the series we know so little about them, and Uryu is really the only Quincy we get to see. Like,
Yeah,
do stuff.
Uryu, his dead grandpa, and his dad.
And it's like this is the arc where he came after like working with his dad to train for a little bit. So you would think
he does have some cool stuff like the sword that steals Reishi and it can turns into a bow or like an arrow.
Did that show up yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was that fight. That was the only interesting thing that happened in that fight. Is
Right.
he pulled out the sword.
But exactly, that's what I hate about it showing up in this fight, because you take all these cool like Quincy concepts and tools and you stick them in like, and their debut is this really shitty fight.
Yeah, where like the character that he's fighting isn't memorable and the fight is constantly getting interrupted by random nonsense.
And there's not even any Sakuga.
Not even any Sakuga. Anyway, and then after that there's a really cool Chad fight. The Chad fight is really cool, but it's only one episode. It's like, I think it was like memorable because it was like surrounded by a bunch of really boring episodes. Because the fight directly before that was the Uryu fight, and the fight directly after that was the pink hair guy fight. That's really boring. But like Chad shows up, he gets a new arm. Look at this crap. Like he's had that like right arm that can as like he's had that right arm for a while, like the entirety of the Soul Society arc, but then now he's like, oh, my power is fully awakened. Now he has like this big giant shield, and it turns into like a big shield, and then the shield turns into rocket thrusters, and it's sick as hell.
Yeah, I don't like this fight, but I like Chad a lot. I like because we can't even say what it is yet, but it's just cool. His powers are cool.
Yeah, his currently unexplained powers of doing that. Yeah, he has his right arm, it turns into a shield and turns into a giant blasting cannon. And then it's like, oh my god, he has a second arm! That arm that he was using to punch, that was like his main mode of attack, that was only the defense arm. This is the attacking arm that's called El Diablo. And I was like, oh my god, it's sick as hell. And then when he punches people, and then the impact is a skull! Look at this! Then,
Oh yeah, this was actually like a little bit of Sakuga, I think.
A little.
This was like really well done.
yeah, it was mostly like just kind of like Soul Society style Sakuga, where it was just like more like single frames that looked really nice.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But like, yeah, he punches him, and then he's like up, his opponent's like up against a wall, and he punches him in the chest, and then like the wall behind him explodes into like this skull pattern, and it's so effing sick looking. And then he runs into another spot and immediately dies. And then a certified Chad moment happens. Because that's just what Chad's job is in the series.
His job is the job.
His job is the job. Pour one out for Chad. Because that happened in the Soul Society arc too, where like he got this cool new power and he was fighting a bunch of nobodies, and they ran into like, listen, in Chad's defense, he ran in the Soul Society arc, he ran into like one of the most powerful captains. Because he was like one of the captains that like held off the head captain with Uhitake. We said his name just last week during the movie watch along. We've already forgotten it.
Yeah, I can't recall.
But yep, don't remember. Shunsui? Shunsui? Was it Shunsui? Oh my god, we're looking it up.
I believe so. You don't gotta look it up, I'm right. But look it up now just to make sure I'm right.
Shunsui Kyoraku. Yes. But yeah, so he ran into like one of the top 3 most powerful captains, and then he also ran into one of the, I don't think his number is revealed, but like he's like, yeah, I'm the strongest Espada. F you. So it's like, oh well, sucks to be Chad. So like Chad's just a tragic character. I'm sorry. Chad's a really cool character. But he just never really gets to do anything. Because not because he's weak, but because, you know, he just is he jobs. I don't know what you want me to say. It's not really that the fights that he loses make sense for him to lose. He just never fights opponents that are on his skill level. They're either way below him or way above him. There's no like back and forth fight with Chad.
It's why I think it's probably the biggest issue I have with Bleach, just in general, is Chad specifically not knowing where to place him, because I feel like you can tell how strong a character like Uryu is. You can tell how strong even a character like Orihime and Rukia is at this point in the series. But in like Ichigo's little entourage, Chad's just like you might think he's really, really strong, but at the same time you might not, because he kind of loses to other characters that, like, you know, other captains can beat, but you're not sure. It's very odd.
Yeah, because they always talk about how Chad, you know, Ichigo's famous line, I can't imagine Chad losing. So they always
aged really well.
They always talk about how Chad's so strong, and he is, but he never effing wins any fights. So like, I don't know, man. In a series that has a billion great side characters, there has to be one that is underutilized.
Yeah, when you introduce as many characters as Bleach does, it's natural. Someone like Chad just gonna kind of get left in the dust. Sadly.
I'm so mad. Why did Chad get 1 episode? Uryu got like 20! Uryu got like 3 episodes with that stupid girl, and then another 3 episodes with that fight with Renji! Why couldn't you just give one of those fights to Chad? Like, what the fuck? Do we need to see that much of Uryu? I'm okay.
I guess so.
Also, the screenshot of Orihime slapping Ukiura. Because he's like, all your friends are garbage, and they're not your friends, and they suck, and Orihime's like, fuck you! I don't know why this moment stands out. Anytime, like, Bleach does, like, an opening that, like... A lot of the times that, like, Bleach does, like, an opening of, like, looking back on all the key moments of the series, for some reason, this slap is always one of them, and I don't know why. Is this one slap really the most interesting thing that happens and the most memorable thing that happens in the entire arc?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question. But yeah, I think I might have my order mixed up a little bit, but after that, Ichigo does his fight with Ukiura, and again, I like that was my other screenshot of Ichigo using his Getsuga Tensho, where like it's like swirls around him, and then like it kind of like ribbons around his sword, like it's made out of like paper or something. It's really, or, like, not made of paper, it's like ribbon. It's like ribbons. It ribbons around his sword, and it's really sick. And I definitely, I like the animation. But yeah, it's a really good fight in general, because Ichigo basically goes, he learned his lesson. He's like, I'm gonna go all out with my Hollow Mask and Bankai, and I'm not gonna immediately lose, and then he immediately loses. I mean, he does cause Ukiura to at least try a little bit during that fight. But like, yeah, basically as soon as his mask breaks, then like he's just trying to run away, and then he is barely able to, and then he dies. And then he dies.
Oh.
Ichigo just straight up dies. Like, he dead. He dead. Like, Ukiura stabs him in the chest, but not before Ichigo goes on to this big fight about how, like, I have to defeat you because you're the strongest Espada, and if I defeat you, then everything will be fine. And then he's like, lol, nope. And then this scene happens where he rips off his shirt and he shows that he's the 4th strongest Espada. And he's like, even if you do somehow manage to defeat me, there's still 3 above me, which is kind of similar to what they did during the Soul Society arc with Renji. Because Renji's like, oh, I'm a lieutenant, even if you defeat me, there's still 13 more captains who are above me. But I feel like this one worked out a lot better because, like, Ukiura is a lot more of a threat because he murdered Ichigo. And also at this point, Chad's dead, Rukia did kill Aranyeto, but also got kind of killed herself. And Chad and Udi are also kind of getting killed at the moment. So at this point, like, and Ichigo knows this, apparently at some point, he learned to sense spiritual pressures. They do make a note of that, by the way. Because, you know, back in Season 1, Udi was making fun of him because, oh, you're a Soul Reaper, you don't even know how to sense spiritual pressures? How cringe! But then, in this arc, Ichigo's like, I just sensed Rukia's spiritual pressure fading. Oh no, what? I hope she's okay. So, like, character development? That happens a couple times where Ichigo just kind of gets a new power without even realizing it. I can only think of this in one other time that's like a spoiler, but you get the idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of funny how Ichigo kind of just got that ability off screen, I guess, or like he's just training really hard and like all these other things are just happening like subconsciously. But yeah, I do like how it shows how they really get their butt kicked in this arc. I mean, they kind of get their butts kicked in the Soul Society arc, but like not really. Like Chad got one shot. Uryu had like a very square fight. Orihime didn't do anything. Ganju didn't do anything is the name of the other guy. But this one, like, you know, Rukia's dead, Chad's dead, Renji and Uryu are on the back foot, like, Ichigo's dead, like, it really shows, like, they had to take that L. Also, do I want to mention this now? I'll mention this briefly. So here, Ichigo died by Ukiura stabbing him in the same place that Ukiura has his own hollow hole. Which they do bring up. But, I don't know if I have a screenshot of it. Maybe I don't. Oh, yeah, now I do. All the way back in the other Soul Society fight, maybe this is not a great screenshot of it, but the other time Ichigo died was, a hole through the chest. So, continuity, question mark? It'll be more relevant later. But, just know that Ichigo dying from getting a hole in the chest is a reoccurring thing that happens.
And it's a lot less bloody than it is in the manga.
Yeah, outside of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, yeah, the anime is more like PG-13, where the manga is more brutal. Speaking of which, the next fight against I don't have any screenshot of this other than oh no, Renji has his Bankai. Oh no, his Bankai broke. That's it. That's the only notable part of that fight. Because it's against Grants? The pink-haired Esparta guy who has glasses. I don't know why he has. Listen, one thing I like about him, I love how his glasses are a part of his Espada outfit. I'll pull up a picture of him.
I remember that he sticks around for a bit too long.
Yeah, because like at the end of this arc, like they have this big like there's like 3-4 there's like a lot of episodes with this jackass, and they still don't finish the fight. Like they do this big like finisher, and he's like, "Lol, I'm not actually dead, haha," and then that's it. Then we move on. Yeah, it's this guy. Like I do like that he has pink hair and that his hollow mask is his glasses, which do actually have like lenses in them? Question mark? I don't know how that one works. I thought hollow mask was just like bone. Like I thought it was just like a skull thing. Like does it also include glass? Did he put those lenses in them himself? I don't get it.
Interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that.
But yeah, other than that, this fight's really bad because it's like Renji fights him for like an episode or two, and then Uryu joins in, and then he and Renji fight him for like 3 episodes, and it's the worst fight on the history of the planet. I'm putting on my sad face for this. It is a really bad fight because it is just it's really long. And it's just that the only thing that happens is, "Oh, you got me!" JK lol. And then it's just that again, over and over again, where Renji's like, "Haha, I'm gonna use Bankai and defeat you." And then he's like, "Oh no, not a Bankai!" And then he's like, "Oh, by the way, you can't use a Bankai. You can't, I analyzed your powers, and you can't use a Bankai in here." And he's like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "Well, then I'll do this, and I'll fight you this way." And he's like, "Oh no! Even in your Shikai, you're too strong for me." Lol, JK, not actually. You're not even giving a fight. And then Uryu shows up, and he's like, "Not a Quincy! I can't fight off against a Quincy!" And lol, JK, you can't use your bow anymore, because I already analyzed your abilities, by the way, lol. And then they do this big plan where like Renji like ties him up and then does like a big like keto explosion, and then Uryu shows off a new Quincy power where he draws like this big diagram and makes like this big super explosion off of it. And then they're like, "Yay, we got him!" And he's like, "No, not a big explosion!" And then he like comes out of it and he's like, "Oh, I'm still alive, but he's really hurt." And then no, he just eats one of his friends, and then he heals himself, and he's like, "Haha, JK." So like, literally, like, I know that sounds like I made up most of that crap. That's literally
It's true.
It's what happens in the effing series, dude.
It is so awful. It's so frustrating. It is so many episodes. He is the reason why I have like a very. I like this arc mostly, right? But he's a big blemish on it. He really like brings in this pace because the Soul Society never had a fight like this. It never had a character who stuck around and was a pain in the ass this long.
Uryu's fight with Mayuri was 1 episode. Just think about that. It was that big fight that was memorable and showed off each Uryu's like ultimate form and the first Bankai that we got in the series. 1 episode.
I don't know what.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking up how many gosh dang episodes that this fight took up. Oh my god.
I think what's worse about how many episodes it takes place in is you're talking about all the stuff that happened. There's like other fights that happen in between those revelations because they don't stick to this one fight specifically.
Yeah, this happens like in between. Like Renji fights him, and then they interrupt it with like Ichigo and Ukiura fighting, which is actually a cool fight, but like then it goes back to this and it's like, ugh. I'm trying to figure it out when this fight actually, how many. Yeah, okay, it's the first one is right after Chad dies in episode 159 is when this fight starts. So it's 159. And then they go back to Rukia. They go back. So they do that fight with Chad. Chad dies. They do this fight with Grants for like 2 seconds. Then they go back to Rukia. And then they finish the Rukia fight. And then they go back to this Grants fight for another episode. So that's like an episode and a half mixed in with all these other things. Oh my god. I'm just trying to figure out how effing long this is. Yeah, so 150, we're doing the math. We're gonna figure out how bad this is. 159, half of 159, most of all of 161. And then they interrupt this with the Ichigo fight. Half the 162 is the Ichigo fight, and the other half is the stupid Grons fight. And then 163, is half screwing around with Orihime, and then half the Grons fight. And then 164 is more Grons fight, which is the end of that fight. So basically, 159 to 164, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes is dedicated to going in and out of that fight. It's bad. It's bad. I'm not gonna defend it. Bleach, an otherwise 10 out of 10 show, bad. I'm sorry. I'm good. I got a little heated there. Somebody's gotta clip that. Do you have anything else you want to say about this awful? And it doesn't even end! It doesn't even end!
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we'll have to talk about it in like the next stream of this. It doesn't end here.
It
right?
doesn't end, because it's, again, the fight ends with another, "You got me, JK lull," and then he's like, "I'm gonna go get a new shirt, I'll be back," and then they move on. And then he comes back in another stupid arc. But then, the next arc, they actually kill him. We have to wait entire goddamn arc. Talk about, you remember earlier we were talking about how when Rukia took down an Arankar, or not an Arankar, an Espada, like when Rukia took down an Espada, like we felt like we made actual progress because we took down a numbered Espada, right? Okay, just make sure you're still with me. Yeah, that didn't happen. Like, he is a numbered Espada, like this fight should matter, but like nothing happens in this fight. It's the worst fight in the history of Shonen. I'm sorry. Do you have anything more to say?
My only thing is I really hate this as a character by himself. Even if he wasn't taking up like a million episodes, I think he is so bland, he's so boring, and he, in a weird way, makes me not care very much about Uryu and Renji during this arc, because I just think all three of these characters don't even have an interesting dynamic, especially compared to Rukia and that Arankar she fought. I can't remember. Yeah, that guy. And even honestly, thinking more about it, I like Ichigo's fight with the dancing Arankar guy.
Yeah,
a lot more interesting.
Like,
and this guy's an Espada, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an Espada.
Yeah.
They don't tell you what number he is, but he is an Espada. So like, it's dumb. It's because this arc is otherwise good. It's just like 6 episodes of like the most like mind-numbing BS you've ever seen in your entire life. But yes, and yeah, his character is really boring because he's just like another like evil mad scientist, which we already got. Uryu already fought an evil mad scientist. He fought Mayuri. You remember Mayuri? He was an evil scientist and they had a really cool fight, and it was 1 episode that ended. And now here we have another Uryu fighting another mad scientist, and it's the worst thing ever. How did they F it? They also have an interesting pairing of Renji and Uryu. Like, that is an interesting pairing of, like, because those are 2 characters that have not really interacted each other. They are mutuals of Ichigo, and
they're both Knuckles.
They're both Knuckles. They're both half of Knuckles, and they're both like characters that you wouldn't necessarily see interacting, so you're like, oh, it could be cool to see them, you know, do stuff. It's not, though. They squandered it.
Yeah, his presence just makes everything about it worse. Also, I hate to like keep bringing up animation as if that would like fix it, but it's not bad. Bleach does a good job at like having its production not melt ever.
Yeah.
It's always looking competent, but it's so bland and boring. There's a few times in the fight I believe they do like the old Pokemon technique of having like characters stand in front of like a stock background.
I think you're right.
I can't say that. I wish I might have to go back and I'll bring it up for next stream of screenshot if I can, because it's just horrible. This whole part is, I feel like this guy is like the villain of his own arc.
One way or another, the background is not that interesting because you can see the background in this screenshot. It's just a hallway. There's like some blue tiles on one side and a black void on the other side, and like the floor is like orange. But yeah, I don't know. But hey,
I like to move on from this guy. I hate him.
Yeah, I got a little heated there. Sorry. But
it's understandable.
But you know, best thing is that I think after that is I think the worst part of the series. So like it's only up from here.
Oh, that's definitely like Bleach's lowest low. Not counting, I guess, filler.
Yeah, outside of filler. Again, there's some filler that are better than that.
I believe it. I would take that movie over that.
I'd take that movie, at least the movie. I think the movie might have been shorter. Because that was 6.
It might have been shorter.
That was 6 episodes compared to 1 movie, so 2. 4.
Yeah, that is longer.
Yeah, a 90-minute movie would be like 4.5 episodes, so yeah, the movie was shorter. And just as much got accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then we start the Grimmjow fight. Grimmjow blew open a door, which is, I think the funniest thing in the entire series, because going back to a positive thing, it's so funny too, because we go to the worst fight in the series to like the best fight in the series, because Ichigo versus Grimmjow is like one of the most highly like praised, you know, fights in shonen history, and for good reason, because it's a really cool fight.
Yes.
But yeah, it starts the fight by kidnapping Orihime, and he enters the door by blowing through another door right next to the other door, which is really funny.
Yeah.
And they're like, why did you blow a hole in the wall if there's a door right there? And he's like, the door was broken. And I'm like, okay, fine, fair enough. The door was broken.
It's impossible to dislike Grimmjow.
Grimmjow is the best. Listen, his dub voice is really good, but he's one of the few cases where I'm like, I really like his Japanese voice better. It has a more of like a cocky, laughing, screaming vibe to it that the dub doesn't really get across. But the dub's really good too.
I love Johnny on Botch.
Yeah, no, I was talking about Grimmjow.
But I love Johnny on Botch in the dub.
Yeah, no, of course. Johnny on Botch is the good one, but a lot of the other characters have really good voices. Like I really like Rukia. I think it's Michelle Gruff. Yeah. I'm looking up Grimmjow.
I know Grimmjow. I think he does Gilgamesh in a few of the dubs of Fate. I'm not sure which, because Fate's dubs, they like change actors a lot now or something.
Yeah, Junichi Suwabe is the Japanese voice, which he also does white-haired Archer in Fate and a lot of other like famous roles. I think one of his more famous roles is definitely Grimmjow. People love his Grimmjow. But the dub is David. It's David Vincent. And yes, you are right. David Vincent does do Gilgamesh. Which is weird how both of Grimmjow's voice actors are also in Fate, but different characters.
They're just different archers.
They're just different archers, you're right. They're just different archers. That's really funny. It's like, oh, you played a guy in Bleach. You should also play this guy in Fate. The archer, right? Yeah, the archer. And they just mixed up the archers. That's funny. Also on Grimjaw's like bio, they have his race Iran card, gender male, height, weight, affiliation, rank, date of birth, zodiac sign, and whole location.
What does that mean?
His whole location. As a Bleach fan, you should know what they mean by whole location.
Oh, his stomach?
Yeah. You can see it in this screenshot. It's in his, yeah, it says whole location abdomen. Why does that need to be on his character bio? But anyway, yeah, Grimjaw is really cool. We already talked about last time about how he has a good, like, rivalry with Ichigo because, he kind of murdered Rukia, and then Ichigo's like, I'm gonna fight you, and then, yeah, no, just kind of like that whole, like, rival thing where, like, you know, Grimjaw has Shinigami and Soul Reaper powers, and Ichigo doesn't, and Ichigo kind of has to learn to get onto his level, and then he surpasses him. It's good. It's just like, it's like a rival story, you know, like, like it's the exact same thing as Sonic Adventure 2. Because, you know, in Sonic Adventure 2, where Shadow shows that he has like chaos control powers, and Sonic doesn't have chaos control powers, and that's why they lost their first fight, and then later he has to learn how to, you know, it's basically the same thing as Sonic Adventure 2. He's not saying I'm wrong. He's not saying I'm wrong.
I mean, because he's not.
He's not. I mean,
you're not wrong.
He's like, Azrad's like, I mean, I can't defute that. Also, same thing with Jet the Hawk and Sonic Riders.
I'm not sure about that one.
Because at the beginning of the story, Jet the Hawk's like, haha, I'm a master at using extreme gear, and Sonic doesn't know how to use extreme gear. And then throughout the story, Sonic learns how to use extreme gear, and then at the end, he surpasses Jet. What I'm basically saying is, it is a rival template that is used in Bleach and is used effectively, because Grimjaw has Soul Reaper Hollow powers and Ichigo doesn't, and Ichigo has to learn how to use Soul Reaper Hollow powers and then get better than Grimjaw with it, and it's a good rivalry. Yeah, going back, talking into the fight in general, yeah, so Ichigo's dead, and Grimjaw basically, kidnaps Orihime to heal Ichigo, and then they fight. And then Ukiura kind of interrupts, and then Grimjaw and Ukiura have a fight. I actually quite like that fight. I mean, it only lasts for like 5 minutes. I think it's really cool because, again, not a lot of the Espada have like interactions with each other. Like, they don't ever interact with each other, but Grimjaw and Ukiura actually do, and they I'm dying.
Oh no.
But yeah, Grimjaw and Ukiura actually do have like a fight with each other, and it's really cool. But the fight basically just ends with Grimjaw trapping Ukiura in Pocket Dimension for a couple of episodes while they have their fight and some other things happen. Until it's plot relevant that Ukiura comes back. You remember that? Because I completely forgot that.
I think I do remember that, actually. Vaguely.
I thought Ukiura just kind of disappeared for... I remember Ukiura disappeared for a couple arcs, but I forgot what did it, but it was Grimjaw just sealing Ukiura in a pocket dimension temporarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that, because, like, Ukiura has already killed Ichigo, and then Grimjaw, like, has a score to settle with Ichigo, because he wants to... Because the last fight that they did was, like, this fight in Karakura Town, where Ichigo put on his hollow mask and was basically, like, overwhelming him, because Grimjaw didn't have his full power, because he was, like, missing an arm. So, like, they both have, like, a score to settle. Like, the score is 1-1, and they want to finish up the best of 3, you know? Because, like, in the first fight, Grimjaw kicked Ichigo's ass when he didn't even have a hollow mask, and then when Ichigo did have a hollow mask, then Ichigo had a hollow mask, but Grimjaw didn't have an arm. But now Grimmjow has an arm, Ichigo has his mask, they're ready to throw down. So it's just like there's a lot of build up, and the payoff is really nice because it's like it's one of the best fights in this series. Like the scale, like the backstory is really nice because we get to see a lot of like Grimmjow is definitely one of the more like developed character wise out of the Espada, especially his like rivalry with Ichigo. And it's also like the biggest scale that we've seen in the fight because it's like a super Bankai Ichigo versus a Ronkar that is allegedly stronger than some captains. You know, it's like definitely like compared to the other like biggest fight that we had, which was Bankai Ichigo versus Bankai Byakuya, like a little bit higher. Although I don't know, again, the show doesn't necessarily, I know I was saying the show doesn't necessarily focus on oh frick, I moved. I know I said the show doesn't necessarily focus on power scaling like that, but and I know it kind of doesn't, because like we had a lot of good fights, like the Rukia fight without like power scaling, and we kind of stay at this power level for a while. It'll be easier to explain in the next part, but yeah, I don't know, I like it. Also, something else that helps is the animation.
It's really good.
Because, like, yeah, the sound choice, animation, there's a lot of, like, impact frames. Like, there's a lot of cool Ichigo using Getsuga Tensho. Like, yeah, there was, like, this part. Also, I saved this screenshot because this is the last that we see of Ichigo Shikai for, like, basically ever. When he goes when he goes Bankai to start this Grimmjow fight, like, that is, he stays in Bankai for a while. But yeah, as I was saying, like, yeah, there's really cool, there's this really cool animation, and there's also this really cool, like, he does, like, a sword swing slash Getsuga Tensho, because, like, he swings his sword, but, like, like, the after trail, or whatever you call this, like, the cut line, is, a Getsuga Tensho. So he basically does a sword swing and it gets a good Tensho at the same time, and it looks really sick. Again, the animation's really good. Okay, don't look at the derpy Grimmjow face. that was a moving scene. But yeah, no, the animation is really good, and they also really like help the sense of impact because like at this point we're just flying around each other. Like I don't know. Like, up until this point, we haven't really been flying. This is, like, the first and one of the only really, like, Ichigo fights that he just straight up is flying and there's no real explanation for it. They're just kind of standing mid-air. So, don't worry about it. I think they try to explain that in the manga, where they're, like, compressing spirit energy below their feet, but, like, it's still a little weird. But yeah, they do a lot to, like, sell the scale. Because there's a lot of cool animation, and also, like, halfway through the fight, they, like, cut away to other characters who are watching the fight, which I would normally criticize, because, like, some girl Ronkars are watching the fight happen, and they're, like, commenting on it, which I would normally criticize, but, like, I think it helps the fight, because they talk about, like, dang, that's, like, some huge crap going on. There's, like, big explosions going off in the distance. Because they're, like, they're, like, a good ways away, but there's still, like, explosions going off, and they still feel it, and they, like, see all this crap happening, and they talk about it, and it sells the scale of this fight really well.
Yeah, I, fully agree. Honestly, there's not even much more I can say, just because the fight's so well done. You know, the build-up was perfect. The execution was perfect. I don't know. It was really one of the moments, like, I was really popping off while watching Bleach. I was, like, visibly and audibly excited.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you were a little sour on Bleach because of the underwhelming things that led up to this, basically ever since the end of the Soul Society arc, this is what made it worth it. This until the end of the series is the good part.
Mind you, we still have fights with the pink hair to Ronkar after this, which is insane to think about.
Other than that,
yes.
There's one more.
This energy.
There's one more bad fight, but other than that, I like it a lot. But yeah, it's I like the scale, like the animation. It has a lot of personal stakes, and also has like a lot of back and forth. Like Ichigo like overwhelms Grimjaw, and then Grimjaw goes to his resurrection, which we get to see, which is like this cool like panther thing. It's really sick. And then
that's a good shot of it.
Yeah, and then this is the shot where he blows up a building because Ichigo, he like shoots a projectile at Ichigo, and Ichigo like blocks it with his body because he's trying to like protect Orihime, and then Grimjaw's like, wow, you must be in really rough shape because look what this can do, and then he just blows up a building in the background. And I'm like, that's really funny. But yeah, it's a good fight. I have a bunch of notes, but I think I've said most of them. All the things I said 2 parts ago about Grimjaw being a good rival. They both have Soul Reaper Hollow powers. I also kind of have opposite personalities. Because Ichigo is all about wanting to protect his friends, and he doesn't want to... The reason he wants to get stronger is because he wants to protect his friends, and Grimjaw just wants to fight people. He just wants to scrap. He just wants to throw hands. But Grimjaw, like, also, like, has, like... He has something to prove. He wants, like, before the fight, he wants a fair fight, so he, like, traps Ukiura and has Orihime heal Ichigo. So, like, clearly, like, he's not just, like, a regular bad guy, because if he was, then he just would kill Ichigo and have that be the end of it. But, like, no, he wants a fair fight. And then Ichigo, for some reason, I'm not 100% sure, agrees in turn, and then also lets Orihime heal damage that Grimjaw took while fighting off Ukiura.
Well, I think, I could be wrong, because I haven't watched the episode, but you have. So correct me if so.
I mean, you have seen the episode, but not for
I haven't seen the episode in a long time, but doesn't Ichigo kind of talk a little bit about his pride here?
Yeah.
And, like, say that he does, like, he seems like the kind of character at this point, even though early on in the series he seems like the kind of guy who wouldn't, like, abide by that kind of rule set. But, like, I feel as the show kind of goes on, he seems to have a little bit more honor. Not even pride, I would say honor to him.
Yeah, I think the show talks a bit about that, but yeah, I think Ichigo is just like, you know, I mean, he wants to save his friends, but like he also, you know, wants to have a fair fight as well. Like, you know, he wants to repay a debt, I guess, like, because he's like, okay, Grimjaw kidnapped Orihime to help heal me, so I should in turn give him the favor, you know, as a way to repay him for healing me. Because Ichigo was dead. So, I think, yeah, going back to, like, the Soul Society arc, the reason that Ichigo wanted to rescue Rukia is because Rukia rescued him and saved his life, so Ichigo's gotta return the favor, so, you know, he's just a good boy like that. Right?
Yeah.
But Grimjaw, there's, like, a little mini arc where Grimjaw has, other ideas, because Grimjaw kind of says, like, because after seeing that, he's like, oh, you know, he implies that Ichigo subconsciously cares more about fighting than saving his friends. He's like, oh, it's your fighting instinct that is the reason that you came here, ha 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 ha. You know, yeah, he was like, yeah, your killing instinct is the reason that you came here not to save your friends. And that kind of ties back to his character arc, because, like, obviously Ichigo wants to protect people, but, like, literally everyone has said you need a killing instinct to do so. Like, when he first was training with Urahara, he's like, oh, you know, you gotta have a killing instinct so you can kill your opponent. You can't have fear. That's that whole fight. And then, Hollow Ichigo just straight up told him, like, you're never gonna win unless you have a killing instinct. So, that show kind of plays with that a little bit, which kind of makes you question, like, oh, did Ichigo go too far? Is he too much of a Hollow? Is he only going here because he went too far on the killing instinct? You know? And then Orihime also has a little character arc where Ichigo's mask reminds her of her brother when he was a Hollow. And then she's like, oh no, I'm afraid of Ichigo. I'm trying to trust him, but he's scary because he has a scary mask and my brother had a scary mask. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. I also remember it not really going anywhere too much. I like the moments actually between Ichigo and Orihime in like right before and a little bit during this fight because it kind of shows how much they care about each other.
Yeah, I mean, it kind
Orihime being afraid was like a thing I kind of forgot about a bit.
Yeah, that's something that they get into a little bit later about Ichigo's like hollow powers being like scary. Because right now it's just like he's using it as a power up, but like, you know, you remember what Hollow Ichigo said is like, if you ever let yourself die, I'm gonna take over. I don't know why he didn't do that this time when Ichigo died, but he might do it again. Who knows? Maybe not. I know what I mean, dog. But yeah, it's a thing that's like in the background. You're gonna say something?
No.
Okay. But yeah, she's like, I'm afraid of Ichigo, and then she also is like, oh, what if Ichigo is like a hollow now and he's not here to save me, but he wants to fight? But Nell, the little comic relief kid character, tells Orihime like, oh, you know, don't you see how hard Ichigo's fighting? Don't you see that using that mask is really painful for Ichigo and that he's doing this to protect you? And then Orihime's like, oh yeah, I should stop being such a big baby. And then Orihime starts cheering for Ichigo. And then she's like, don't get hurt, Ichigo. And then this kind of tips the favor back to Ichigo. Because Ichigo's like losing the fight at this point. Like he's hollowed up, but like Grimjaw is like beating his ass. And then he's kind of, I think he kind of can feel that Orihime's afraid of him, but then Orihime starts cheering him on and saying, don't get hurt anymore, Ichigo, I believe in you. And then Ichigo, then that kind of turns the tables of the fight. Again, people say, oh, resolve hacks, yada, 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 but like, that's, again, as I've said for the first, I think this is the sixth discussion part of this series. As I've said throughout the other 5 parts, a lot of the fights of the series are more metaphorical and tests of characters than like actual fights. So people are complaining about this being resolve hacks have missed the entire point. But yeah, so anyway, at this point, do you have anything to say about that?
Not really.
Okay. Other than I'm right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Ichigo gets some resolve hacks. He realizes that like he kind of clears the doubt that Grimjaw was like, oh, you only came here to fight me, you don't really care about rescuing his friends. But like after hearing Orihime, he's like, oh, the real reason he came to Wakamundo is yes to defeat all the bad guys, but he wants to defeat the bad guys to save his friends. Like both can be true at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with that resolve, he wins the fight. And it's a really sick ending.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the resolve kind of stuff just because it like pushes their character forward while also like pushing the narrative forward.
Yeah,
I think it's like a good way to handle it, rather than I think just hate his character got stronger because he did some push-ups or something.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's that thing about, like, you know, killing instinct and, you know, Ichigo's resolve and, like, why he's here and trying to, like, remember why he's here. It's a little bit roundabout. It doesn't necessarily, like, it just kind of reinforces Ichigo's current, like, character, like, arc. It doesn't necessarily do a lot of new things. Push-up worked for One Punch Man. Hello, Bean showing up at the very end. But yeah, it doesn't really do a whole lot for Ichigo's character arc, but it does, it's a cool fight. It reinforces a lot of his character. His character is cool, just like in general. Like just, even though just Ichigo being Ichigo is enough to carry a fight, honestly. And it does hint at, like, later developments that he will have. Like, you know, that resolve will be tested, and his hollow mask being scary will be relevant later. I was here for the 2 different starts. Oh, no. This is why I can't trust my viewer list, because it says I've had 0 viewers this whole time. But you said that you heard the 2 different starts. That's weird. I still don't understand how YouTube's viewer list works. Anyway. Bean, you had a job. You were supposed to be here and seeing that because you didn't watch Bleach and seeing if I tried to make sense. Whatever. I still think I did an okay job of summarizing what happened in this arc. They went in and they did a bunch of fights, and it basically ended with everybody's dead except for Ichigo, but we'll figure it out. Do you have anything else to say about this fight or this arc in general?
Not really. I mean, this fight was just, I think it's the best the show's looked.
Oh yeah,
in general,
100%
up to this point,
and
it's even better than some of those movie fights. Honestly, it might be better than all the movie fights.
I don't know. The first movie. Listen, you have to remember the first movie was pretty good.
It was good. It was good.
It's just the second movie that it was kind of bad, but yeah. And then this again, it really enforces this point from the series onwards. It gets good, especially this is the last episode that's in 4:3. All future episodes are in HD widescreen, and they look it stays about this quality. The future shows look a lot better. They look about like on par with this Grimmjow fight. I'll watch it later, then make a comment. Thanks, Bean. Anyway, yeah, Bleach looks good. It just sucks that directly after this arc is a stupid filler arc. Okay, so did you have anything else you wanted to say about this arc in general?
Not really. I think I can just sum up my thoughts with, overall, I wasn't a huge fan of the earlier fights. I know you definitely seen some value in them. For me, it was really just the Rukia part.
Yeah, the Rukia.
I like Chad.
Rukia,
even though the ending's bad.
Yeah, the Rukia, Chad, and the Ichigo fight with the dancer were all pretty good. But like, yeah, anything involving Uryu and Renji were really bad.
And sadly, that took up a lot of the runtime.
Oh yeah, I went on like a huge rant about that. I do want to clip that. That was really funny. If it was, I'll rewatch it. If it was as funny as it was in my head, then I'll clip it. But yeah, if you are at this point in Bleach, 167, or technically minus like 50, so like 110, 117, 120 about, if you're at this part, then like, this until the end of the series is good. Just skip the filler episodes I tell you to skip. Because right after this is like the new captain arc. And I remember it's not as bad as the Bount arc, because I did, like, it was not as bad as the Bount arc, but like, it's based on BS, because it's like, oh, they introduced the new captain of Squad 3, but like, he's a filler character, so you know he's not gonna, this is all pointless. Like, the whole premise of the thing is like, oh, Squad 3 is gonna get a new captain, but like, you know that's not gonna happen because it's a filler. They even acknowledge it in canon, because during the episode preview, or like during the post-credit scene of the last episode, they have like a comics relief scene of like, you know, everybody being like, oh, Ichigo, what are you doing? You gotta get changed. We gotta go to school. We gotta start the next arc. And Ichigo's like, what the hell's going on? And Nell's like, oh yeah, you know, the higher-ups say that they're going in a different direction, so we're not gonna be around for a while, but you have fun. Which is really funny. That they basically just like broke the fourth wall to say that, hey, we're gonna do a filler arc. Do you remember that scene, or did you just skip after the credits?
I might have skipped after the credits.
It's at the very end of 167 if you want to look at it, but yeah, I remember that arc. It wasn't that bad. I was debating adding it in this series, but no, because like part of the reason I cut it is because it's not that good. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's, oh, hello, I clap. It's not like that bad, but it's like, especially after like the lull in the series, like, okay, after the Grimmjow part, it gets good right after this filler, you know? So like, if you just skip that filler, then you can just go like, your face is facing really hard. I'm talking really fast. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so, if you just skip the next filler arc and start off with episode... I have it written down. It's just the next arc. What the fudge is it? What the fudge is it? 190. So, like, it's only 20 episodes. It's like... Yeah, it's only like 20 episodes. 23 episodes. But, the next 190, gets really good. So, just skip that and go there. But we will add in some filler episodes.
This will be my first time watching, so yay.
Yay. Not yet. Not the next filler episode, filler arc, the one after that. I want to say, let me just pull it up. Let me just pull up the list. Yeah, so we just did 150 to 167. There's a batch of episodes, a movie, and then another batch, and then a good filler. So 2 more batches of episodes, and then a movie, and then we'll move on to a filler. Anyway, 2 random things I had nowhere else to put. I like how all the Iran cars have different Sero colors. Like, you know, Seros, they're like the big laser beams that the Iran car can do.
Right.
Yeah, they all have different colors, and I think that's kind of sick. Like Ukiyora's is like a red or green color, and Grimjaw's is like a blue-green color. Some of the other Iran cars have like yellow. There's like yellow and like blue. If you go on like the Bleach wiki and then look up Sero color, like it has like a big list. Or fandom.com. Yeah, all the Sero that like actual hollows have been shooting out since now have all been like red. But yeah, there's like purple, green, lime green, golden yellow. Let's just go for all the lists. It's not a spoiler. There's crimson, magenta, indigo, burnt orange, green, lime green, golden yellow, light teal, blue, violet, and pink. And then there's also some like special variations, like Grimjaw's like Grand Ray Sero. But that's not like a different color. That's just like his regular like blue Sero, but like super. There's a couple others. Yeah, Shinji shoots a Sero too. I forget what color Shinji's Sero is though. Rainbow Rangers. I'm looking it up. You can't stop me. I'm looking it up. You can't stop me. Shinji. Scroll. Isn't it gonna tell me his Sero color? Because he used it in the Grimjaw fight, right?
Yes, he did.
Am I crazy? I don't think he ever used it again, but okay, it's red, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. And yes, he just does shoot it out of his hand. Which brings the question, can Ichigo do a Sero? Theoretically, if the Vizards can, he can. I have no idea.
Yeah, I feel like probably, and I think he did, or I'm not sure if I'm remembering right.
We might.
But maybe he did when he was fighting the Vizards while they were training him, and he was turning into like a hollow.
I don't think that counts. That counts as like a hollow Ichigo doing a Sero. But yeah, we could count that.
I don't think that counts. Yeah, we'll count it.
I don't think that counts. We'll count it. But yeah, well, I agree. We'll count it. It doesn't count, but we'll count it. And one more thing is, I like the like underwater wobbly voice effect on both Hollow Ichigo and Ichigo when he's wearing the mask. I just think it's present both in the Japanese and the English dub. You know, where he's like blah 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 blah. I'm the Hollow Ichigo. I cannot replicate it. You mean the fan effect? What are we talking about? Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. It's like when you're talking into a fan, and your voice gets all wobbly. I hate it. I hate it. You've ruined it forever, Tevin. I'm sorry. But yeah, I like it. You remember that, Azerad?
Yeah.
Okay. Azerad's a sleepy.
I'm a bit sleepy. I'm on my way out.
But we're about to end. the next block of Bleach discussion episodes will be 190 to 203. But the next anime discussion, yeah, okay, do we have anything else to say about this arc? Yeah, we said everything about this arc. We're gonna stop delaying. The next anime discussion will not be Bleach. We will be taking a small Bleach break. I know I said we do one every other time, but there's like 3 different anime that I want to talk about, so we might take a little bit of a Bleach break. Yay! Don't say yay. We like Bleach. We're Bleach fans in here. But yeah, I did say after doing 6 Bleaches in a row, we will cover something else. And can you give me a drum roll, please?
Can you hear that?
I can hear that. Ta-da! We're gonna do Oshinoko. I'm gonna do Oshinoko. Oshinoko. Don't say Oshinoko. That is, Noko is not one word. It's Oshinoko. It's 3 separate words. I thought Bleach was all you did. No, listen, this is why we're doing it. This is why we're gonna take a bit of a Bleach break. Because I didn't necessarily intend to just do Bleach. Because I wanted these anime discussions to cover other anime. But just like, I don't know, things happened and we just ended up doing 6, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is 6, yeah. We just ended up doing like 100 episodes of Bleach. But yeah, because things didn't line up. But like, listen, even if it's just me by myself, I will do Oshinoko by myself. Azerad may be there, and we also may or may not have a special guest, but they're not responding at the moment. Probably because they're busy and not addicted to the internet. If you used to pick an anime I've seen. Well, good news, it's 11 episodes. It's only 11 episodes, and you have 2 weeks from today to watch it. I'm aiming on the weekend of like the 22nd to the 24th. But if people want in on that, and I will be willing to, and they can't do it that weekend, I will be willing to delay it. Azerad, are you planning to do Oshinoko?
I am going to try my best. I make no promises, but I will try my best.
Okay, good news. It's only 11 episodes. Bad news. The first episode is like an hour and a half long.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you? I'm gonna look it up. It also is getting a season 2. It is a... If you don't know about the anime, it is a recent anime. It just finished airing like last June. And it's about idols, edgy idol. It's an edgy idol show. And it's written by the same guy who made Kaguya-sama. The Love is War thing. You know that one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what his name was. Akasaka. There's no way his name is Akasaka. That sounds fake. Listen, I don't know much about this show. It's highly rated. It's people, ever since it came out, people have just not shut up about how great it is. So, hopefully I will feel the same, or I will make a lot of people angry. But we'll see, you know? Yeah, I think that's all. It's about, idols, not edgy idols. It's about idols, but there's edge in it, and there's some plot. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll find out together. I've never seen it. Hopefully I have enough to talk about it. I guess worst case scenario, listen, worst case scenario, no, Azerad doesn't want to watch it. My special guest doesn't want to watch it. Nobody else wants to watch it. And it's just me, and I don't have anything to say about it. I can rant for like 60 minutes about something about the show. Listen, if you heard me in this stream, Azer's been asleep for half the stream. Azerad has been asleep for half of this stream, and it's been 2 hours. I can talk about Oshinoko for an hour, for at least an hour.
He can make up for No guess.
But hopefully I will have a guest, and hopefully I will have people in the chat, and yeah. Bleach will come back. Bleach discussion will come back soon. We're not dropping Bleach because it's even if it gets no views, Bleach is my passion project. I like doing it, and I like Azerad likes doing it, right?
I do.
Yeah, and I like doing it with Azerad, and I like hanging out, and you know what? There is some people. It's not getting no views. The lowest viewed discussion series is like 21, which not bad. And it also has the clips of these Bleach things have actually gotten more views. Like the episode that we talked about Bankai, that stream was the lowest viewed Bleach stream. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. It was the second lowest viewed Bleach stream with 24 views. But the clip got 85. And yeah, I know. If you like numbers so much, why don't you try getting a girl's number? You don't have to tell me. I know, I've heard it before. You don't have to tell me. But basically all I'm saying is, what? I don't know. It's like a shit post that people do when streamers or YouTubers talk about what numbers they're doing too much. If you like numbers so much, why don't you try getting a girl's number? Anyway, not important right now. But all I wanted to say is that I like doing Bleach. I'm having a lot of fun with the series, and there is somebody enjoying it, so we will continue the Bleach discussion. But you know, I do want to try to balance, you know, doing what I want to do and doing what is what other people like. And this is a popular anime, and I might have a lot of insight about it, so yeah, I think it'll be interesting. And yeah, I also I picked Oshinoko for two reasons. A, it's popular, and B, it's very different compared to Bleach. Like, Bleach is like an old school like shonen anime, and Oshinoko is like a new... It's listed as drama and supernatural? What the fudge? What the fudge? What is supernatural about it? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I wanted to do... Because I like a lot of anime. If you've seen my 3x3, that I have quite a large... a large amount of anime on my 3x3, which we'll pull out real fast. Hold on. I thought that was it, but that was the direct bingo I made back in June. Hold on. I know Azerad is currently asleep. I know Azerad is currently asleep. But too big. Yeah, look at all this different anime that's on my 3x3. It's not just shonen, so that's why I wanted to do something completely out of left field. But I am interested in doing more like action shonen series. Like, I know you requested Jujutsu Kaisen.
That was just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I am interested in that, because you said it is inspired by Bleach, and what I've seen of it looks good, so... But, again, I wanted to do not a shonen. Because, Oshinoko, I don't think it's a shonen. I don't know. I see supernatural in the genre tag, so, like, I don't know. Are there gonna be, like, Dragon Ball super forms in this show? I have no idea. We'll figure it out. But, yeah, that's the end. Do you have anything else to say, Sleepy Boy?
No, but I'm hoping that I can make it to the Oshinoko one and watch it, enjoy it, and talk about it.
Yeah, that's why I don't have like a set date. It's just like as long as you have watched the show within 2 weeks, it'll be sometime after that. It won't be sooner than 2 weeks, so you have at least 2 weeks, but we might have to delay it or whatever. We'll be flexible. Because yeah, I care more about making good content, making everyone happy than trying to like keep to a schedule and maximize my revenue. That's it. So yeah, thank you all for watching. The VOD watchers, the people showed up live, Azerad, anyone else who might see this message in the distant future. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming. This was more fun than I was expecting. I enjoyed my rant about. We talked about some good fights, and we also ranted about the bad parts about this arc. So this was a fun discussion.
Definitely was.
Anyway, I will let Azerad sleep. I also need to sleep because I got work in the morning. But I will see you all later.
Bye.
Either in the next stream or in the next anime discussion or in the next Bleach discussion, whatever, who cares. Also, thank you everyone for 50 subscribers. Woo! I know if you love numbers so much, why don't you marry one? Wait, that's not how it went. I just wanted to thank everyone for all of their support. And thank Azerad again, and we're actually leaving. Okay, goodbye. Say bye for real.
Bye for real.
Okay, stay fresh, cheese bags.